organizers here, as well as the participants and dignitaries, for having taken this challenging as well as a very essential or quintessential topic for discussion and action today. I wish that this will be taken as an immediate responsible life commitment and proper initiatives for meeting us. See, we are all literates and elite people. How to take this to the downtrodden members, the most needy members of the community, is a challenge. If we do that, then it is certainly a laudable task. Once again, praying for the welfare of all and seeing that it enters into action and results in social accomplishment, I take leave, congratulating all of these things which have been taken as a series of action. It is not a path. Today we have started something. Let us have our end as a social vision and social accomplishment. Narayan, Narayan, Narayan.
Now I would like to request Justice Shraddha to kindly give him memento. I request Gogna ji to give him Ang Vastra. Tushar, Adil and Sudhanshu, please come and give Swamiji the plant. These are all volunteers who have actively participated in the function. So, they will give plant of Swamiji. Swamiji has dealt with, all the aspects of surrogacy, the comparative analysis, legal, religious, social, psychological. He has done, work for all of us. But still, I want to see the economic angle of the problem of surrogacy, economics and business of surrogacy. And I invite Dr. Gurjeet Arora ji to highlight on this issue.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to be the last speaker in the session because 90% of people, they're so tired, and quite a few who are still active, they wait for the next session to come. I could see Madam Across, she'll be talking in the next session. Thank you so much, it has already been delayed. And I take this opportunity to thank Gogna ji for always bringing, conceiving new things and putting in practice by inviting friends and the people across. Honorable Justice Shraddha Sahab, Swamiji, Dr. Chadda, and Dr. Anup Gupta, they have already brought a number of aspects. I was just wondering from where to start and from where to end. But let me just, to keep the perspective a little systematic in terms of from where we started, I divide the entire issue into the 4 different aspects. First is just quickly the historical aspect, second is the conceptual, and third is the procedural, and fourth is the critical issues which we see in the context of all the deep-rooted globalization, and how this issue of surrogacy will come in the future, and as we see today. If you just come back to the historical parts, as a subject, surrogacy is a recent subject, and more in the, I'm quite afraid of the legal side, because that's not my area, but still I would venture that in the legal perspective it is also equally new. And in fact, talked about the bill which is still awaited, art bill, which also further confirms that it's really new. Historically, if you look back, Mahabharata reminds you that probably there was some kind of surrogacy prevalent in India before also. Look at the first component, first part, the UK 1978, and India just 2 months later on, October 78, when we have the first IVF child. The LAC mission further brings out a good report and puts all those things in a very in a good perspective. If you just look at the word surrogacy, essentially in a very simple language, it's a replacement. It also indicates about a Latin word, the substitution. The two different types have been talked about earlier. One is the traditional, where the artificial insemination and sperm with the intended human husband is involved. Then we have the gestational, and the third is the donor. Now, you see, if you put it in that same perspective, this issue has become very, very important. But just to understand this issue more critically and clearly, we need to look into the different steps which are required. A, the woman. B, conceiving. C, the pregnancy. Fourth, bearing. Fifth, the delivery. And now this brings into a number of notions, concept, which including the legality. We have people talking in terms of writing in books on homes for rent. We are also talking about outsourced pregnancy. We are also talking about baby farms. We are also talking about the surrogacy contracts, where the national, international, the aspects are coming into the picture. These are the broad issues. But much more important is, which Swamiji has also talked and highlighted, how the technology, reproductive technologies have taken place. Now we have to place this reproductive technology in the perspective of globalization. How do we see it? Today, it has become a very big market. Without saying, this turns out to be $450 million a year market. If you just look at the pregnancy outsourcing, this turns out to be about 50 billion rupee industry. These are the figures which are documented more or less on the different. There are about Honorable Justice has also talked about 4,000 births through surrogacy taking place, and the Swamiji has talked about the art. This assistant reproductive technology has gone to the extent of 25,000 crore, which is also put in the at the pot of gold. Now these are the important aspects of marketization or globalized surrogacy market in India. Going a step further, why India is a preferred market? I think that's very important to understand why India is a preferred market. One important reason, I mean, if we forget about from where the mothers are picked up, if you just take the economic part, that is, the cost is 1/3 all around. Cost is 1/3. The technology which is being used during that period of reproduction, fertility, etc., is almost 1/3 and 1/4 in the case of India. If you look at the surrogacy, just Dr. Gupta talked in the morning, but something which is very, very important is that surrogacy clinics, they have mushroomed. And as a result of it, the competition has increased so much that the cost has further fallen in as compared to the 12 countries. That is the reason that most of the people. Now you see, we are not going to have the happy days ahead. The reason being, somebody talked about the human trafficking. This is a very natural process of globalization, which most of us really don't. In fact, most of the economists don't make it simpler. In the process of globalization, let's not, since I find the young student across, particularly from the law, you must understand two things simultaneously happening in the world when there is a market coming up. A, you must give space to the private economy. B, you must reduce the space for government. And this process of change must take place simultaneously. That is the reason that the fertility institutions and the hostel, infertility hostels are growing in a country like India. Anand is a very good example in Gujarat, But the still not happy days to head, because India has around 30 million people as the non-resident Indians spread across 200 different countries. And can you imagine, 30% of it happens to be from Gujarat. And Gujarat happens to be one of the richest states. Now you can imagine why Anand, why that place. That is what, now it is spreading over to the different states, but that is more a part of the global process and the marketing taking place in the system. Now, if you just look at it a little from a different angle, let's not forget that we are a country which is highly inequitable country. We talked about, Dr. Chatta talked about in terms of why we call the housewives and the working women. I venture to say that we will happen to be, now we are talking in terms of the fourth largest economy in the world. We probably become the first largest economy in the world if we include the services performed by the woman. If you see the services performed by the woman, then the service performed as a housewife, service performed as a mother, service performed as a sister, service performed as a mother-in-law. These are the services which are not included in the economy, and they are not included in the national income. If you start including it, we will turn out to be probably the first largest economy will cross over. Now, so I think that the much more important is that we must not forget the distinction between the motherhood and the mother. Now, in the process of globalization, when we are talking about the motherhood and the market, let's not forget that, let's not reduce this as a machine. We can't go away from the emotions, we cannot go away from the market, we cannot go away from the role, mother as an institution. I think that is which is very important. You know, raising a baby, having it for 9 months and then forgetting, and then the emotional setbacks, and in fact the late medical thoughts. And what happens to those children, Swami has made it that the kind of 21st century globalization, the kind of terrorism which will come in, nobody knows who are the people, and why the young people, why the entire world is looking at us as in terms of surrogacy market. I think these are the key questions which we need to answer. But before I close it up, I just want to add another thing. It is a highly interdisciplinary subject. It cannot be divorced from the economy. It cannot be divorced from mother as an institution. It can be cannot be divorced from our social, ethical values and systems and the cultural aspects. These are equally important, and when we are talking about surrogacy, we must not forget that these are equally important, have to be. Also, since I find the young student across, we happen to be the most illiterate society in the world, probably the only, but the largest number in the world. We happen to be the most poorest of poor society, with not the 30% which is the usual figures. It is happens to be 2/3 of the total population known as the vulnerable, and out of it, 50% of the women. These are the government statistics. And further, if you come down further, these are the socially and economically weaker sections. So if we are talking about surrogacy, we must not forget, don't allow the market to take over as a master. Use the market. Swami just said it very correctly, that there should be a regulatory framework. Let's not allow the market to play as a master, but use the market as a servant. Because if you use it as a servant, you will be looking into your own problems. You will be retaining mother as an institution, and you will not be making it as a machine, as a reproduction of fertility. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for giving us input about the interdisciplinary character of surrogacy, and that market is for us, we are not for market. That is the clear thing. Now I invite Madam Abha to give plant to Professor Sahab. Again, I request Justice Chatter to give mentor to Professor.
Anyway, Mr. Gogna has requested me to just sort of share a few more thoughts with you. Whatever I have to say, I've already said, but according to me, this is a good initiative, which Mr. Gogna, under the auspices of the organization that he is a general secretary of, is being taken up. This is something that needs to be debated. It affects each one of you. All young people, especially in the years to come, may or may not be in some way this particular issue. It's a human issue which affects all of us. So I must thank him for this initiative, for inviting me over here. I must also thank Professor Sharma, Swamiji, Dr. Chadda, our professor here, and all my young friends in the audience. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Now I invite for the next session, Madam Beena ji. Please come on dais. Kuljit ji and Hema. And I also invite HRDI think tank, which is of Mauritius, Ghana and Rwanda, Mr. Daminian Monzuan. Please come on dais.
I take this opportunity, and this is really an honor and a privilege on behalf of HRDI to welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. In particular, I welcome Mr. Damien Muzon, who is here from Mauritius, Ghana, Rwanda, INA think tank. We welcome you here, sir, on behalf of HRDI, and I request Bhavna ji to please welcome him with a bouquet. Thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time. I would also like to welcome Mrs. Kuljit Kaur, Vice President, All India Women Conference. I request Liu to welcome her, please. A bouquet for Ms. Kuljit Kaur. here with the dignitaries on the dais. She is President Ujjwal. And I request that she also be welcomed with a bouquet, Bhavna ji. Mr. Ripu Daman, kindly welcome her, please. Thank you. Mr. Ripu Daman, I request you to give her the memento as well. Then we have here Dr. Alok Sharma from Faculty of Law, Delhi University. I had the privilege of being her colleague when I was guest faculty there. We welcome you here on behalf of HRDI, and we'll welcome you with a bouquet. Bhavna ji. Thank you for your time. Thank you. We'll begin this last round, the last session, with Mr. Damien Mouzon. I request Mr. Damien Mouzon to take the stage, please.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. My name is Damien Mouzon. I come from Africa. I'm glad to be here for the first time in India. And I would like to take the opportunity to say, have my warm greeting to my African warm greeting, of course, to the people of India, a country I really and personally admire after reading about Gandhi when I was growing up. And today I had the privilege to be here and to have this very critical topic and to speak about just for 10 minutes. My organization is called Aina Think Tank. I'm told Aina means mirror in Hindi. So I created this organization is a think tank that is basically a research and advocacy institute that I started from Ghana, Mauritius, and Rwanda, where I just came from. It's just a group that deals with the parenting and social innovation management issue. That is my area of expertise. So here, we would like to give our little social aspect and the consequences of this very topic that is the surrogate, the commercial surrogacy. From our perspective, we want to just draw the social line. We live in an age of, I call it profusion, where there is simply more of everything nowadays. Sorry. There are more people, countries, cities, political parties, armies, more goods and services, and more companies selling them. We have more weapons and more medicines, more students and more computers, more preachers and more criminals as well. But if that's the case, why we can't just have to buy human being when we have the money? What is our social aspect of this? I would like to personally call the attention of my respected judges and lawyers who are present here, who are very active on the matter right now to have these things legalized or not. I think we live in a world that is just getting to the reality where everything just rings economic and resonates the echo of money. So what is happening is that if we don't back this aspect, this reality with some social values and principles, we might find ourselves in some kind of revolution and unpredictable consequences that are not limited to one quadrant of the globe or to one segment of humanity, but it is going to progress in the face of all the negative events that make the headlines each day: economic recession, terrorism, earthquakes, repression, civil wars, natural disasters, environmental threats. So I just want to give this very example regarding the social aspect of it. If just tomorrow I become like the next Bill Gates, let me put it that way, and coming to India, deciding to buy all the Indian people because we need more people in Africa, will that be carry some dignity for Indians? If it is so, this particular social aspect of the thing, we need to look at the extremes and see what could be the consequences when we think that because I have the money, then there is nothing that I cannot buy. If I need anything, chow, it's bought, and because the money is there. And from the history of countries, we have come from slavery in Africa, and we have really dealt with the situation, especially our grandparents had a hard time with slavery, and today we are still paying that price. So if we don't just bring the issue down, I'm not just here to say I'm against, we should not commercialize this kind of human reproduction and so, but at the same time, how do we make it so that our own dignity is preserved? How do we make it in the way that our own culture will not be just taken away and the values and the principles and the ethics to be taken out of the society? That is my area of concern, and we've got just a limited preparation about this program because I'm becoming member and ambassador for Swamzi's organization here in India, and I came purposely to travel across different areas and engage with the students from secondary school, especially the nursing schools. We've done in 7 states. I'll be going back to Africa next week. And I'm very glad to share my humble perspective on the issue, and I hope to be more in India and see you more also in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm told we have here with us Ms. Pragya Parante. She's a celebrated women rights activist. I request Samit Sharma to please welcome her. Mr. Samit Sharma, please welcome her with a bouquet. Ma'am, we honor you for your presence and we are delighted that you're here. Thank you, ma'am, for coming. Thank you so much. Now I request Ms. Kuljeet Kaur, Vice President of the All India Women's Conference, to please give her presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. After the dialogues by Honorable Justice and by Mr. Rajesh and by Swamiji, I don't think from where to start and how to start, because most of the things have already been covered by them. But however, I'll try to do something. So I just want to say that in the January 29, 2014, Yamma Sharpa, 23 years old, when she died due to the clotting of blood around uterus and ovaries because she had to donate the eggs. That time, nobody bothered that what was the cause of her death. When Robert Patrick, the Nobel Prize winner, he started with IVF, he wanted to give happiness and joy to the parents, to the childless parents. He did not know, he did not imagine, he couldn't foresee that how the women are going to be exploited in surrogacy. So these are the few things I would just like to pay attention and show you through my presentation. I'll just talk about globally where the surrogacy is permitted. It's commercial surrogacy legal in India since 2002. Ban on surrogacy in Germany, Denmark and Netherlands. US, some states allow surrogacy but in highly regulated environment. Highly regulated environment means there the commercial surrogacy is not legal. If you hire a surrogate mother, you have to adopt the child. In India, the birth certificate is prepared in the name of the commercial parents, whereas in US, the birth certificate is prepared in the name of the surrogate mother, and the commercial parents, they have to adopt the child legally. In Russia and Ukraine, surrogacy is legal, but in France, it is prohibited. In India, surrogacy is the forefront of the booming trade. Lots of reproductive tourism, local women produce foreigners' babies. We have been listening to these things since morning. Cost about US 300 to 45,000 in India, including medical expenses and fee for the surrogate mother. But in USA, it costs about $180,000. Whereas in India, it is up to $45,000, so that's why it's very cheap in India, whereas it's very expensive in other countries. In India, surrogacy was 500 million business per year in 2008, but just in 2012, it is more than 4 times in 4 years how it has risen to the 5,000 babies, and how it has become 2.3 billion worth of business in India during the 4 years of time. Now these are some photographs from Anand. Since morning you have been listening about Dr. Patel in Gujarat at Anand. These are the photographs from Anand Hospital. Now, why this surrogacy is so popular in India? Why the foreigners, they are attracted to come to India? There are certain reasons for that. First of all, of course, Dr. Chadha, he made this stress that because the Indian women, they don't take alcohol, they don't smoke, that's why they expect that their children will be healthy. But there are other reasons also why the people, they are tempted to come to India. First is the medical advancement. As far as the medical advancement is concerned, India is far, you can say that in advance as compared to the other countries. And there is a cheap, because the medicine, the medical treatment is cheap, so that's why they come. And the main important thing is that the cheap egg donors and cheap surrogate mothers. As I told you in the previous my slide also, that in India it's 4 times less than what they have to give in America and in other countries. It makes India a fertility tourism hotspot. Each clinic implanting embryos, at least 2 different surrogate